welcome back to Facetime, or welcome for the first time if this is your first time. And I have a guest today. His name is Brandon Dermer. He's director, writer, and he's kind of like one of those directors that is to watch out. Like if there was a list, he probably has made a list. I don't know. I would just assume that he has made one of those lists that like Voyage did or something like that. It's like directors to watch out for. This is him. So he did lots of Diplo music videos. He did this thing that got extremely famous, a big video, like viral before like viral was necessarily viral. I think he was saying like 2012. I guess viral was back then, but for this band called Nekrogobilkon, where he made the singer a goblin, was pretty cool. So it got extremely huge, and he just has this path that's just like he followed rules and to not follow rules. And I don't know if he would put it that way. I'm just how I'm putting it, which is fucking. That's like punk. That's punk, dude. That's punk rock. To know enough about. You ever seen SLC Punk? And the fucking Matthew Lillard's character knows so much about the world, ins and outs of politics, and that's why he's a punk, because he fucking knows the whole thing. Brandon Dermer's fucking punk, dude. And he is somebody who I, as a director, has been following to be inspired by, to look up to, and go, he's doing it. So he's got some sort of sauce that's going on. What's the sauce? So I'm gonna ask him about the sauce. Before we go any further, rate and review on Instagram, on fucking Apple Podcast, and subscribe on anything that you listen to podcasts on. Also, there's the YouTube. That is the best experience for this, I will say. If you're listening, I'm sorry. This is going to be a great interview for you, but you should probably watch sometime. And anyway, let's get to the interview. Brandon Dermer. Yo. What's up, dude?
How's it going, man?
Oh man, okay, I'll be honest. It hasn't been a good day.
I mean, yes, in the world for sure.
In the world for sure. Lebanon, has some shit going on. Now that I say Lebanon, I feel like I can't even really say what's wrong with my day. But
it's okay to not be okay. Especially during these times and always. Is what my therapist tells me.
Wait, what? That's like a quote from a pop song.
It's okay not to be okay?
Yeah, isn't that? That's like a Demi Lovato or something like that.
Oh, really?
I swear to God, it is, yeah.
So someone on the internet who might be watching this, someone should do a mashup of that song and My Chemical Romance's I'm Not Okay.
Oh,
where
wow.
it's like Gerard Way's progression to understanding it's okay to not be okay.
You just went to like completely backlit documentary mode.
Let me turn this light on too. Oh, yeah.
So what's going on, man? How's your day? What you up to?
My day's been lovely. It's been a little bit of editing, a little bit of Zoom. I'm editing via Zoom with an editor.
Oh, okay.
So editing a commercial and then zooming.
So you're still able to stay busy with film and shit.
Yeah, it's been good.
What about so you said you were pitching some stuff today.
Yes.
Can you talk about what it is?
All I can say is that it's for the television medium, and I've been doing it all over Zoom.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Do you? Because a lot of people put together these really eccentric performances for pitches sometimes, especially when they're bleeding the lines of like comedy, and some sort of absurdism, which it seems like you draw the line. You dabble on both sides of the line. Do you put together anything in particular for pitches?
So each pitch is different, but the 3 that I've done in quarantine, I've done 3 different things. And luckily all of my projects, I have partners on them. So it's not just myself, with like 10 people watching these pitches.
Yeah.
So I can lean on them for some of their strengths.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a pitch and there was a book component and it was based on a music video. So we sent the music video, we sent copies of the book, and then we already had that material, so they were already sort of greased. You know what I mean? There was like a foundation. We weren't going in cold. Another pitch that I'm currently out with my partners and I, my writing partner on that one and the two producers, we made like a digital pitch where we filmed ourselves on our phones, and then my editor and I worked together and made this like 10-minute fun, interesting piece, which was totally in the tone of the show.
Yeah.
And then we made like I ripped clips off YouTube. So when I'm like pitching scenes, it's cutting to what I think they would look like from actual shows and movies. And then the last pitch I did was with these two writers, and we went in completely cold, and they're super, super funny. And like, I sort of I set up the pitch. I set up who I am, how this idea came to be. And then when I was looking for the right writers, I met with these guys, and I knew they were the perfect duo. And then they sort of go into the pitch. And that one, we just went in cold. Yeah, just cold.
So when you said it was based off a music video, I guess you can't really say which one then, right?
I know, because we're in all this litigation in the legal process. I wish I could. Hopefully I can very soon.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, so, because you had the Diplo show, and that was great. I mean, I didn't know that you did that. I watched it because I knew Bobby, and I saw that he was in a new thing, and I was like,
Love that.
Of course I want to watch this. Okay, it's weird because there's I also work with well, not anymore because I live in New York, but I used to work with Emo Night for quite a while.
Oh, okay.
And wait, you didn't know that?
No.
Oh shit! I did all of their intro videos.
Oh, incredible. Okay, I love them. What was my favorite one? Man, I love the Wes Anderson one. I love the one with the Did you do the one where the vampire got the internship?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I love that one too.
Yeah.
That's
great.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I've done all those. I did those for like 2 or so years, and then it was like really sad. I like had to leave, and that was something I was doing every month. It was cool. But so your name had come up a lot with them, and I think it was for the first time it was Emo Night Day that you did something for them that looked amazing, and then it was paired with something that Bobby said sometime in his podcast around that time, where he was like, Brandon Dermer can make anything look really expensive. Do you have anything in your mind that you're like, this will just look better if I do it like that, or more expensive like this? Like maybe you're not thinking about money, but you're thinking about like higher quality. Do you have like little tricks that you do?
For that piece, I'm always just thinking committing to the story. And the story for that was, it opens on like the original sort of video of the vampire dancing in his room. And then it cuts to the big like flash, like he puts the laptop down. Now he's in this crazy party. So the big polished look was like organic to the story. You know what I mean? So I always like, I'm never writing thinking like, unless it's to the joke or to the story, like it has to look big and flashy. You know?
Yeah.
But to Bobby's point of that, it's probably because, there were some days on set where we were the full, 100-person trailers, big spectacle of a production. And then there were other days where I was like, all right, Diplo's playing at Shaun White's, music festival downtown. We're going to go with just 10 of us. But we would still shoot it to that same sort of caliber to have it match with the rest of the show. And to that end, it's just, man, I just surround myself with like great people. Cinematographers, editors, colorists, production designers, gaffers, everyone, like I might have the good idea of like, we should go to the concert and throw James on stage as Wes, because we're going to get this priceless shot. But the actual execution, I'm just surrounded by really great folks. And I also just believe that like sometimes you discover great things with your limitations. You're just forced to think differently. But yeah, that Emo Night thing, I mean, we didn't do that for a lot of money at all. And that was me just wanting to do anything with Emo Night. That was like, I discovered Emo Night through the internet. And then while we were making What Would Diplo Do, Dylan was going to go do an Emo Night as Preston. I couldn't go because I was just like all in on the show. And I just was like, tell those guys I'm a big fan and I'd love to do something with them. And then I think he or someone introduced me to Morgan. I had a coffee with Morgan. I was like, hey, if there's ever a time you guys need something or you think I'd be right for it, like I'm down.
Yeah, I remember they told me that, and I was like, oh, sick. Like I didn't know who you were at the time, and I was trying to figure out like, am I going to work with this guy on, like I didn't know what it was, so I started looking into your stuff, and I came across Nekrogobilkon, which, by the way, I do want to say that it seems like, and I don't know if this is a conscious decision or not, but it seems like you're not afraid to jump into any genre and not be like put your like you feel like it feels like there's no way to put you in a box because
Thanks.
you do everything and you're
Thanks.
like not afraid to do it because so many people are afraid to do something outside of drama or something outside of comedy, but it seems like you'll do any of it and still have it feel like Brandon Dermer. Is this something you've thought about or?
Absolutely. And sometimes that's my biggest concern is like, I wonder if someone watching Nekrogobilkon would also know that it's like the guy who did like the Noah Cyrus Diplo video. And my whole thing is like, I just try to bring humor and heart and true aesthetic commitment to everything I do. And the wide genre and the cast is just like, I'm just like a fanboy. I'm a fanboy of music and I'm a fanboy of music. Like I love comedies. I love slasher films. There's a lot of dramas I really like, but for me, it's just, I think my sensibility and voice that I hope comes through is just like the commitment to the absurdity or the commitment to the genre aesthetic that I'm playing in.
Yeah, yeah. Because you have a way of everybody going, and it feels this way too. With Tony Asenda, he sort of does a similar thing where it's like it's a dick joke filmed so beautifully that you're like, this is you don't exactly know how to feel, but it feels good. It's
I mean that American Vandal, like you like really felt for Jimmy's character in that thing.
Mm-hmm. He's great
in a way. Yeah, in a way that it's not a real story. It's about dicks, but the way that Tony constructed and weaved that whole thing, it was so compelling.
What was even sicker was that people were arguing online whether it was real or not.
Yeah, and I love that stuff too. Like I love, blending reality and what we're making. Yeah, Tony and I share the same manager. So when we were making What Would Diplo Do, he was also making American Vandal at the same time. So I would, my manager produced American Vandal with him. So we were just sharing war stories and like, everything.
Your manager produces as well?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's cool. Is that rare?
No, that's like on TV and film now in Hollywood is extremely common. Like managers are also producers. So like he's at a company called 3 Arts. So at the end of, American Vandal, you'll see 3 Arts. At the end of Silicon Valley, you'll see 3 Arts and such.
Yeah. I'm familiar with 3 Arts. They're all over. They represent a lot of really amazing people. So
yeah, they amazing people. Then right at the bottom, me. I snuck my way in.
Do you have like because it seems like from the beginning, I was so stoked to see you on. I'm gonna drink with you. I was so stoked to see you on Tiger Belly talking about basically like your first thing, and I know that I had so many more questions, so I wanted to have you on about when you got funding from those. How did you sell it to people? Like, what is to even sell to get money from somebody to do that? Like, how are they going to benefit?
Yeah. So the first thing, like, I'm an assist. Is that a Truly?
Yeah.
Oh man, can I get a White Claw?
Get a White Claw. Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of
I don't have any White Claw, but I got a champagne of beer. So
that'll
cheers.
do. Cheers. We got a cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, I was an assistant at this point for like from 2008, and this was 2011, and I was making videos with John LaJoie, and John is just killing it.
Oh, by the way, yes, I've been a fan of those since they were coming out. You did the original Show Me Your Genitals, I'm assuming?
No. So he moved to the U.S. Right after, I want to say, Everyday Normal Crew. Okay. And then the first thing I did with him was I Can Dance.
I think from similar spirit, right?
Yeah, and then from there, we did WTF Collective 2 and 3, and we did. I mean, there's so many drugs commercial. We did the follow up to Show Me Your Genitals. We did I'm Super Famous. Okay. All those stuff. So I met my boss, signed him. He moved to America. I met John as like an assistant, but we vibed and we became friends, and then I started shooting with him, and then eventually my bosses were like, and John got on the league. John was just killing it, and he deserves all of it. He's the man. Which, by the way, I just have to shout out for filmmakers. Like John and I, he has this project called Wolfie's Just Fine, which is like serious project, and we've done 3 videos for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of John as a musician, and also we co-direct those together.
Okay.
But they're just something so different. I'm really really proud of them. Also, John's like writing music for movies now. Like he wrote a bunch of the songs for the Lego 2.
What?
Anyways, yeah, he's the best.
Holy shit.
So my bosses were like, hey, you should consider making something that really showcases what you're doing, because we know what you're doing with John, and obviously John knows, but it was very, John and I passing cameras back and forth, like super lo-fi, and they knew I had these like, cinematic ambitions. So I started writing ideas, and then I wrote this fake trailer with a buddy of mine, Zach Zeman, called Flesh Lightning, and about a kid who, and you know what? I didn't even think of this till just now. The reason I discovered a fleshlight, this was like in a 1 week span.
They were kind of new back then.
Yes, I watched Weird Science, and then I heard that Joe Rogan's podcast, I'm just realizing this, was sponsored by Fleshlight, and that's when I was like, "What's a fleshlight?" Because this was 2011. So anyway, so I write this fake trailer with Zach, and then I'm like, "Great! The only way this works is like if it feels really real." It feels like a real movie. So I basically was like, maybe I approach Fleshlight and they see this as like a comedic video. So I'm like, they sponsor the Joe Rogan podcast. He's, at the time it's comedy, it's this. So I was like, maybe they'd be into it. So I wrote the thing, I put together the crew, like I got the camera guy, Cody Jacobs, production designer, I got like the whole team together, and then I was like, okay, I need like X amount of dollars minimally to do it, $10,000.
Was it? Do you remember? Was it actually $10,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
it looks way more than that. So
by the way, though, that's me pulling every favor. This is me early in my career, but every favor. So, I'm through the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. I get on the phone with Jenna Hayes, because I was like, okay, I need to pitch this to one of these Fleshlight girls, and it's either going to be Jenna Hayes because she's been in like Superbad and comedy, or Riley Steele, because at the time she was in Piranha 3 Double D with like Paul Scheer and stuff. So I was like, these are one of these two.
Wait, so you knew them from not porn?
I didn't know them personally. I wrote Flesh Lightning, and I was like, okay.
No, but I mean, you weren't watching their porn, is what I'm getting at.
Oh no, I knew their work.
Oh, you knew their porn. Okay. Just
I knew Jenna Hayes. I knew Riley Steele. But when I looked at the people on the website, the performers, I was like, I need someone who's like has some sort of interest in crossover mainstream work. Yeah. So I was like, I IMDb'd all of them. Their IMDb pages are wild. But Riley Steele is in Piranha 3 Double D, which I saw with a bunch of comedians. Super funny movie. And then Jenna Hayes was in like Superbad and like other random appearances. She's like in the TV in a scene in Superbad. So through like, I'm a kid from Chicago. I'm like, how do I even get in touch with a porn star? I also don't have like a following where I can like send a DM or something. So a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, like got me on the phone with Jenna Hayes, and I pitched her the idea, and she's like, yeah, I'm in. She's like, have you talked to Fleshlight? I was like, no, but I have a call with them. Like I found, I found their number online. I called them, like, I'd like to talk to someone. I'm like, I'm talking to them next week. She's like, oh, I'll just email, the president of the company and let him know, like, I'm down to do this. So I got on the phone with Fleshlight. I pitched them the concept. I showed them my, videos that I did with John, and they're like, yeah, great. We'll pay for this. Like, this could be fun. And then that took me 3 months to make. It was a 3-day shoot, but it took me 3 months because I was a full-time assistant, I'm glued to a desk. I'm reading scripts. I'm on call all day, all night.
I also noticed you had that, like, there's that Asian dad he plays the Asian dad on a lot of stuff.
James Hong.
How did you get him for that?
So, dude, I was an assistant in Hollywood,
So
I asked one of my bosses, I was like, I'm like, this is like a send-up of that scene in Gremlins where he buys the Gremlins from that store.
Yeah.
And I was like, James Hong is a fucking legend. I love him. I know he's done stuff with Funny or Die. Maybe he'd be down. So like my bosses made a script submission on my behalf, being like, filmmaker Brandon Dermer looking to cast, and we cast him in it.
Oh man, so that's, okay. So here's the thing: is I always kind of, when I moved to LA, I went for film school, and then after that, when I graduated, I was like, I think I'm just gonna do it myself. Like, there was part of me that never wanted to take the traditional route, but what I learned pretty quickly, and what I'm getting like validated in right now is that like it's probably better to be going and learning from the best, or like, you know, at least people that have been in it for a long time, because there was
Oh,
so
yeah.
much more hustle that you were able to experience and be around and be influenced by.
Absolutely. And I mean, like, I went to film school and learned a ton at Columbia, Columbo, as Bobby was calling it.
Yeah.
And, my friends and I said, got a DVX 100A, and we started making short films together and all this. But being an assistant, I also moved out being like, I'm just going to get internships and like try to make this happen. I didn't even think of be an assistant to a producer and a manager. But again, I got multiple internships and this one turned into it. But I learned everything from the business side from being an assistant. And I also learned so much creatively because I watched them develop scripts with their clients.
Yeah.
And like take an idea from a treatment to a script and then to attaching a production company, then selling it and getting it made. Like all of that. And that definitely inspired and influenced how I go about my business, even so much so with Flush Lightning being like, okay, I need to get the financing. And then like, I need to cast some people to help get it out there because like no one gives a shit who I am. So like,
But what seems great about the route that you took was that you saw stars all the time. You knew that they exist. You knew that the business exists. You can see it and feel it and hear it every day at
Yes.
work. So it didn't seem as far of a reach because you're like, well, it's right there. Like there's got to be a way. You know what I mean?
I mean, there were times where it felt very, very, even though I was right there, just being an assistant, it felt very far away. But I watched my bosses sign guys who I was like, or gals, and I was like, I'm gonna be that. Like Flush Lightning was inspired too of like, okay, I've written a pile of scripts. I can't get anyone to really read them or take them seriously.
Yeah.
I need to shoot something and show my sensibility. And I was like, all right, I've seen my boss sign John off YouTube. I've seen him sign this director like Ricardo de Montreal off of a short film he made that was amazing, but it was like very him, sci-fi VFX. I'm seeing him, how they're discovering people and how it becomes like a race to sign a filmmaker or a writer or an actor or an actress. So I was like, I'm going to make this fake trailer and I got to make the release and everything about it. Kind of like everyone thinking American Vandal is real. I need people and the internet to think this thing is real.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it took me 3 months because like, again, I had to take meetings like over my lunch break. Like my bosses would leave, I'd have like 1 hour. So I'd have like my DP come like work on the shot list. And again, everything's favor based. So it's not like, oh, just get that location or get that. It's everything. So yeah, and I made it and came out and, through that, like I got an agent and a manager and a lawyer and sold one of the scripts that I couldn't really get anyone to read that actually Zach wrote with me.
Did you wrote a feature off of Flush Lightning?
Oh, no. We wrote a feature like a year prior.
Oh, I see.
Just not even, it was called Sophomore Slump. It was about a kid who gets an agent in high school. And once Flush Lightning came out and we got agents and managers, they were able to shop it for us and get it read and bought. It'll never get made. I honestly don't even know where it is anymore. I think I might have it back.
Do you have, because I noticed there's another porn star.
So after Flush Lightning, I got emails to do porn like crazy.
Oh,
and I was like,
no way.
Yeah. And I was like, not me perform, like direct.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, no judgment. Big fan of the genre, but I'm just not trying to go that route.
Yeah.
But when I was preparing Nekrogobilkon, and again, I was like, it's a passion project. This band is, at that time, pretty unknown. I wanted to stack it with as many elements to get picked up on the internet through different facets. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do, yeah.
Well, here's a question I have about that. Was it already a goblin in the band?
No.
So that's your thought, baby.
Yeah. So basically, like, I saw the band play. My buddy Randy was like, come see. Oh, and this all comes together with Dave Rispoli, which I'll get to. Dave Rispoli is the guy in Flush Lightning, the kid. Yeah. He's also like in What Would Diplo Do? He plays the noisy reporter in the second episode.
Oh, okay.
Dave's a collaborator of mine, both as an actor and a writer. So
I'd also noticed Michaela
Hoover. Yeah.
Hoover. Yeah.
So she was a client when I was an assistant, and I was like, I need someone.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, Michaela, like, you know, is doing comedies with James Gunn and she's into weird stuff. She loves your LeJoie videos. We'll see if she'll do it. Wait, do you know Michaela?
Well, she found a short of mine that I actually did with Bobby, and I don't know how she came across it, but she just hit me up on Instagram and was like, I love your work. We should do something." And I was like, "Yeah, it'd be great." And then I moved out here, and I can't do that anymore. But
But when
yeah,
you go back, you can.
when I go back, I can. Yeah, or maybe she'll even like do an episode here. This is like
Absolutely.
kind of my window back into LA right now. This is what I
Yeah,
got
yeah.
right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And it works, right? Like
It's kind of
we're
sick.
we're all stuck inside.
This
is great.
While we're talking about your pseudo person right now, I'm gonna send you a photo of your thing. You wanna?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Look in, just smile, whatever you got. All right, cool. I'm texting this to you.
Thank you. So yeah, so goblins. So I saw this.
Wait. I want to see you. Check it out right now. You got to see what I put on your shirt.
Oh my, that's awesome. Necro director. God, that's incredible. I love this.
There you go. I'll send it to you.
That's awesome. So yeah, my buddy Randy was like, there's this kid in my office. He plays in a metal band. I'm going to go see him tonight in Canoga Park if you want to come. And I love all music. Maybe back to your question, like I do so much. Mm-hmm. It's like I like really good metal. I like really good rap. I like really good punk. I like really good country. I don't like shitty music, but I like really good music. But metal is like, I love metal. Mm-hmm. So we drove. I was like, yeah, let's go. So we're driving out there and we're listening to their album Stench. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like insane. I'm like, this is either going to be like one guy in a laptop or like 7 behemoth pretentious dicks. Like this is just too good. And we walk in and it's fairly empty. And it's just,
dude, aren't those so sick though? When you walk in and you're like, I can't believe no one knows about this.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the shit about living in like a major city is you see these amazing, incredible acts. Same thing with comedians, dude.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. And the difference is like I played in shitty bands in high school and college and people weren't there because we were just okay, but we had the hustle and drive to book shows. Mm-hmm. And then you'd walk in and be like, "Oh, we're opening with this band Fall Out Boy," and then they'd be incredible. Or there were so many great Chicago and 7th Grade Underdog. They disappeared. But anyways, these guys just looked like dudes and they were shredding and they were so good and so tight. And I was just like, Randy introduced me to them. I was like, oh my God, that was amazing. I'd love to do something. And they're like, yeah, we don't dress up. Like, we're not Guar, but like, let us know, whatever. And I bought the CD and I listened to it like obsessively. And then basically I was in Chicago on a trip home, and this character just like came. Like I listened to the album, it was in my subconscious. It's all I listened to, and then this character.
But what's crazy to me is that the character came from, because it's not like they kind of dressed up at all. Like they had no persona thing going on. They were just guys, and you were like, what if I just made the lead singer a fucking goblin?
Well, I wasn't even thinking, like, so what I was thinking is like, what if I just make a video about this goblin who's going through this shitty day, who sort of personifies like anxiety and depression and, insecurity and all of that. And I wrote the video and then I approached I contacted the band. I was so fucking nervous because I was so obsessed. Like I had work going on, but I was so obsessed with this. Yeah. And I took him to a bar and I pitched him it. And when I walked him through it, like I'm pitching a TV show, and I'm like, and then at the end, I'm like, this happened, then he slaps her and he jumps, and then to the double bass, he rips, the guy's face off, and they just clapped and like, let's go. And they're like, we have $0. And I was like, perfect. But then I reached out to Dave Rispoli because I was like, I need someone who's going to completely collaborate and really bring this goblin to life because it's on paper, but I need someone who's going to like, this isn't a job of like, come in and play this guy and do that and say the line and get out. This is like, you have to fully become and create this character. So the character is really created from Dave and I. And so I got Dave on board. And then from when I was an assistant, I reached out to these two filmmakers and writers who wrote like Saw 4 through 7. They wrote The Collector and directed that. I was like, guys, I need to be in touch with someone who can make me a goblin that like could walk in the room and just sit down and be a goblin. Like I need real ass prosthetics. So they put me in touch with this guy Mark Villalobos from Monster Effects. And I mean, this guy's amazing, legend. He's worked with so many amazing people, and he was like, I'll do it. And then basically the band got a little money together. They sold some shit, namely a van. And then just namely,
crazy that you kind of have, you know, what a lot of people need as a director, which is the ability to get everyone on board to the point where they're selling shit to get this project done. That's fucking cool.
Well, but I also was like, Dave Rispoli, I showed them Flesh Lightning and all this. And I'm like, and then I was like, John, I need the homie favor. I need you to be in this video. I'm going to have you play a bartender, which I'm going to base it on a bartender that John and I used to order drinks from all the time. But then also it's like, John knows and supports me, and he knows by being in the video that will help it. And then Mark Villalobos. And then when I was like, who's going to play this like blonde, beautiful, like complex, works at this company? And I was like, you know, at this point in my career, I've done music videos, but not giant videos. And I was like, I'm going to open up these emails from 2011 when I made Flesh Lightning and all these, you know, requests. And I started looking people up, and I actually didn't know who Kaden was. But then you look her up, and like, she's done a bunch of incredible writing. She's done writing for McSweeney. She's done like writing for a bunch of websites. Yeah, she's super interesting. And I was like, maybe she's the one who's going to want to do something like super complex. Like, this isn't like, you know, this role isn't anything leaning into the porn of it all. My main thought again was like, this band at this time has a very, very, very small following. I want to put as many elements so that like the comedy community maybe latches on to John LaJoie. The prosthetics, like the Bloody Disgustings of the world, are like, ooh, Mark Villalobos and prosthetics. I'm going to put Kaden in, who's a huge following, and that's just going to like go everywhere on Reddit. And then the guy who plays Brad, his name's Tyler Dawson. He was a client from when I was an assistant. He was in that movie Bellflower, and I also just thought he was a great guy and a really good actor. So yeah, and then once I had that like team together, I started reaching out to brands, being like, here's who I am, this is what I'm doing, here's like the social media following and the people involved and the band and everything, and I'm just looking for support to get it done. And yeah, like everyone's drinking acai beer at the end scene. Like if you look closely, like everyone's drinking acai beer. And
is that why? Oh, because just
they tossed in money.
But so that
it was product placement. And then the bong that he's smoking, they tossed in money. Incredible.
Whoa.
But what I did was I looked at the script and I was like, what can organically be placed in this? Because it can't be like, you know, John Gobblecon, the phone, like a phone. He's never, other than the text message. So I was like, okay, he goes to work. There's coffee. He smokes weed. They go to a bar. I was talking to a few headphone companies. And we landed on 3. We landed on Mountain Tees, those shirts with like the giant animal faces on them.
So this was something that you did in 2011.
This was 2012.
2012. Do you think that this is something that still can exist today? This type of hustle can exist today and get a video done today?
I absolutely think they could, because product placement is still a very real thing in music videos, you know?
Yeah.
And I think music videos are also having like a big sort of comeback in the past 5 years where they're having this moment. So for a brand, like, it's a good investment opportunity potentially. Like Incredible said they saw like a huge spike in sales on their bong.
No shit.
Because dude, the comments were like, what is he smoking? You know?
Whoa.
And yeah, so I think, but
so then it just makes it so that you can like maybe have them put money towards another video if you really needed it.
Absolutely. And who knows, like another thing is like I reached out to Death Wish Coffee because I saw a promoted ad to me on Facebook.
By the way, this podcast is sponsored by Parliament Cigarettes. So
smoke them if you got them.
There'll be a spike out there.
Absolutely. So they I reached out to Death Wish Coffee because I literally saw like an ad on Facebook. And at the time they were like in their infancy. And they're like, we can't, but we support this. When the video came out, they're like, oh man, we'd love to work together. So a year after that video, they reached out to me. They're like, "Hey, we have money for some commercials. We'd love to hire you." So I did 2 commercials for them. And
That's
then,
so rad.
yeah, it spawned like a friendship, and I've worked with them a few times now. So
I got a question because we were talking about the fact that you worked at an agency as an assistant and you saw stars all the time. There's this whole thing that people are people want to be cool and they try to pretend that they're never starstruck. Do you and they like, if you see someone famous that you dig, do you go say hi?
so so it wasn't an agency. It was a production company and management
Oh,
company.
okay.
Who primarily at the time represented writers and directors. And I was like, I want to be you. But they also rep actors and actresses, and plus actors and actresses would come in for meetings for parts in their movies,
Yeah.
But no, absolutely I would. And like, I mean, for me, it's even like, but for me, the most starstruck I've ever been is like, I've seen, I feel so lame saying this. I've seen Michael Showalter at the Starbucks near my house. And I had to say, "Hey, Mike, love your work," and just kind of left it at that.
Yeah, that's
But
all you
for
can
me,
really do, but you just want to connect with you want to like charge, right? You want to like plug in for a second and go, there's the power right there. I want to just
oh
like be
yeah,
near it and interact for a second.
like he's a writer, director, creator that I've loved and idolized since
He's
like high
incredible.
school.
Yeah.
So when I saw him, it was like, and then others, it's just sort of surreal because you're like, whoa, this is the person.
Yeah. All right, so aside from all that, I had this thing for a while where I felt like, I was like 20. I was like 22, 20, somewhere around there. And I was like, I don't really feel starstruck by anybody, and I thought that might be a bad thing, where it's like you're desensitized to these amazing talents, which you shouldn't be. You should feel different around these people. They have worked so hard to do really good stuff, and you want to do that type of stuff. So, I gave myself 2 people that I would be starstruck over if I ever saw them. Not starstruck, but like I wouldn't. I allow myself to geek out. You know what it's like? It's like the super extremely powered businessmen that will go get degraded by some like power
Yeah.
sex person. Where I
Hmm.
was like, okay, I don't feel starstruck by people, but I'm gonna let myself be starstruck by certain people. So it's like therapeutic and like I can resurge my love for stardom, whatever these people are. So I love. I think The Strokes is like my favorite band, and so I was like, well, if I meet Julian, I have to go say hi. If I
Hmm.
see him, I have to go say hi. And then my, I mean, I feel like this is common. You must know this, that it's common. Is PTA is like the guy, you know. By the way, did you hear that his high school movie might be with Bradley Cooper?
Yeah, very
That
excited.
would be
I mean, I'd be
fucking cool.
absolutely starstruck and nervous to meet him, for sure.
You
Shut
know,
up, Max.
I think the
Sorry, but
biggest thing with him with PTA is that I feel like we would get along. Like we would, you know,
it was so cool when he did, yeah, from Boogie Nights to Magnolia to everything. But
mhm.
when he did Mark Maron's podcast, however many years ago
I
that
listen to
was,
that like every now and then.
it just made me feel great because in my mind, he's a god and can do no wrong and the smartest person ever.
Hmm.
And hearing him on that podcast just sound like a dude and a
Yeah,
casual guy. I was like, oh my, this is like so unbelievable. Still
yeah,
speak eloquently and talk about his films in such a way, but also just talk like a guy, like you or I. It was very, because you put these guys on these, or these people you idolize on a
right,
pedestal,
right.
and as they should, because their work's incredible. But hearing them talk like that's what's so great with podcasts and social media, to see some of these people and be like, oh, this is like
Hmm.
a closer look at the real life version of how they
Yeah,
actually do things. Obviously, social media is all fabricated, but you know what I'm saying. Like you get a look that you normally wouldn't get, and especially in podcasts, you usually get these guys on like a talk show for 6 minutes and then they promote their thing. For these like
yeah,
hour and a half long conversations, it's unreal.
dude. It's kind of fucking. It's great because it's like reaching out to people that are semi famous. there's no other world without, like, a world without podcast. You could never just reach out to someone and go, hey, can we have uninterrupted 1 hour hang time and talk process? Like, that just doesn't exist before this.
Oh
And
yeah.
now it's kind of like something that, there's such transparency between audience and artist that people want to hear the mistakes. They want to hear people not be perfect and humanize a talent. So it's rad. But so I have a story for you. So first off, I just want to tell you that I assume that you're a big fan of Donnie Darko still.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Have you
Yeah.
went back and watched that movie recently?
I haven't, but I've been thinking I need to. I also have I didn't tell him Bobby's, a super embarrassing story about meeting Richard Kelly. Actually, talk about like the starstruck I did something I'm forever embarrassed for. I shouldn't be because he was very sweet and then followed me on Twitter. But
Okay.
but what I did that evening, you can tell your story, then I can tell you
No,
mine.
no, no.
Richard
You're
Kelly.
already. I want to hear it now. I got to know it.
So when we wrapped the Nekrogobilkon video, because I did that all favors, myself, Dave, and the band were like, we're going to play a show for the cast and crew. So we reached out to Palladino's in the Valley, a great bar. They actually got bar rescued, and they're a different bar now, which we have to.
I fucking
My girlfriend
edited
and
some
I watch
shit
Bar
for Bar Rescue.
My girlfriend and I watch Bar Rescue 24 hours a day, pretty much. Like when we're working, it's just on.
Did you
It's
see the one
always
in
on.
Puerto Rico?
No.
There's one in Puerto Rico. I edited like this branded thing for them. It was like it was like a commercial version of the show. But
Please send me that link. Did you?
I'll send it to you.
Yeah. So, okay, anyways, it used to be Palladino's, but then it was Bar Rescued. I don't know what it is now.
Okay.
So the band played, and it was private event. It was a dive bar in the Valley. We were like, yo, can we do this on like a Thursday when no one's going to be here? And one of the extras, who was my neighbor, one of the laughing guys at the business table when John comes in, and he's like, brought his friend, and he's like, and I'm like, I think this guy's Richard Kelly. And he's like, hey, Brandon, this is my buddy Richard Kelly. He's like, this is Brandon, the guy who directed the video. And I was like, hey, man, what's up? Thanks so much for coming. Oh, man, I can't wait for you to see the video. And he walked away, and I was like, do not tell him you were in a band called Cellar Door. Like, I thought that.
Oh,
and I
my
was like,
God.
Don't do it. But then as the night went on, and we all felt very victorious that we accomplished this video on such a low budget. It was so passionate, and the odds were stacked against us, but blah, blah, blah. I ended up getting hammered. And at the end of the night, when my neighbor Manny and Richard Kelly walked up to say goodbye, I was like, Richard, I told myself I wasn't going to tell you this, but I was in a band called Cellar Door in high school named after Donnie Darko. I'm embarrassed to tell you, but I have to tell you. He's like, are you kidding? I love hearing that stuff.
Oh, man.
Which made me feel so good. I made it a good 2.5 hours without saying anything. But then...
Okay, so two things are great about that. One is that there's so many times in my life that I go, don't say this tonight. Don't say this tonight. Don't bring this up to this person. You know what I mean? And then inevitably I fucking bring... Why do we do that? Like,
because you're in awe of this person and their work, and you want to show your
no, it could be
appreciation.
anybody. It could be like a friend of yours. It could be a coworker. And you're like,
sure.
Just don't bring up that little thing. Don't bring up that thing, even though that's all you want to say. And then you just bring it up. It happens to me like once a week almost, where I'm like, what the fuck? Another amazing dude is Richard Linklater, right? And I went to a screening of Everybody Wants Some at CAA. I went with David Sullivan. Do you know David Sullivan?
Mm-hmm.
And me and him had just made a short that was like pending making several other shorts in the spirit of Slacker. And so David was like, oh, this would be perfect. You could come like meet Richard. This would be great. And I was like, all right. So Dave's from Texas. And so we go there. We're hanging out. Have you been to a screening at CAA?
I have not.
So they have a screening room, and then they have it's like a lounge area where they do all the after hangs. and so you can drink there. You can meet the cast, meet the director. Like it's not for like fans, but it's for like people that are involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, fuck. So I go to meet Richard Linklater, and so me and him are, because I don't know if this matters, but I'm half Mexican, and my mom was just really, she grew up on like farms, and she always wanted to have like farm animals around. So we had chickens growing up, and I was talking. I came mid conversation. Richard Linklater talking about his farm, and I was like, I had chickens growing up. There's my in. So now we're talking about farm animals for like 10 minutes, just like chopping it up about farm. It was the best thing. And then the second I tell him about, this short that I made in the spirit of Slacker, he goes, "Cool, man," and fucking just jets. Like, no, like very obviously did not want to talk about his past films. And I was like, I felt so I was like, Jesus Christ.
Well, that's like certain musicians when like they have that album from like 6 years ago that everyone is always just like.
But Linklater has a roster of hits.
No, of course.
But maybe that's the one he doesn't want to hear about.
Who knows? I did something different, but where I gave a DVD of a bunch of shorts I made to Paul Rudd, where I was at Sundance in 2007.
You gave him a box of boner jams?
Dude. Pretty much so. In 2007, my friends and I would go. My friend's older brother started this website, Bloody Disgusting. So we would go with him and get access to see all these movies. And we're sitting in one movie. And before it starts, right behind us sits Joe Latrulio and Paul Rudd. And they were there because David Wayne's The State was premiering. And I turned around. It was one of those things where I was like, I turned around, and I'm in college. I'm just like, hey, I just got to say, like, The State and everything you guys do is like so important to us, and like we love you guys, and we're here to see the 10. We can't wait. Just want to say, like, we're huge fans. And Paul's like, we're having a party tomorrow night. Like, give me your number. I can't promise anything. And so I gave him my number. He's like, and how many? And there were 8 of us. So he's like, so I got to say like Dermer plus 7 dudes. I was like, no biggie. Just wanted to say we're big fans. And then the next day I get a call from a number I didn't recognize. I picked it up. And he's like, hey, man, it's Paul Rudd. I got you guys in. And so me and my friends go to this party. And I mean...
Oh, my God. That sounds great.
I met Ken Marino, David Wayne, Paul Rudd, Rashida Jones, all of them. I mean, Sam Rockwell. We partied our faces off and danced, and it was awesome. But then the next day at the screening of the 10, I brought Paul a DVD of all of our sketch comedy. Like such an idiot.
Oh my God, how did that feel?
But then I mean, at the time I was like, he's gonna love this. We were ripping shots last night. It's gonna be great. But then the great thing is he's such a good. He was cool about it. He was very cool about it. Yeah. And the cool thing about it too is that my first year in LA, my buddy and I go to see Tim and Eric at the Echoplex, and I see Paul Rudd in the crowd, and I walk up. I'm like, hey, Paul, I don't know if you remember me. I met you at Sundance. He's like, Latrulio, it's Dermer plus 7 dudes. And I was like, oh, man, this guy's...
That's
I mean, we all know he's the best. I'm not saying anything new here. But I dream of a day to work with him and be like, Dermer plus 7 dudes.
Do you have like a band that you're like, I would want to do anything to make that music video for them?
I would love to do something with Slipknot so bad.
Of course. Yeah, you'd be a great fucking flip for Slipknot.
I would but Clown directs everything.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I'd be terrified to mess up because he does so great with their visuals. But I would absolutely love to do something for them.
All right, so Cellar Door. So, I was on the set of Donnie Darko in one of the scenes, and I was I would want to say I was in 6th grade, and the reason why is because my cousin is in that movie. She's Sharita Chen.
I didn't know that.
She's Sharita Chen. Her name's Jolene Purdy. Shout out. She's an amazing actress. She's been in tons of stuff, but she kind of that experience being on set made me want to start making films. Being at Donnie Darko's set, I had no idea what it was. I just knew that my cousin did this thing, and I was at her work. I didn't think about what it was. I was in 6th grade, and I had done this. I was just there hanging out. My grandpa took me there, was hanging out. Went to was kind of just watching them do the thing. I was watching the scene where they were on the corner of the street, and they tell her to go back to China.
Yes.
Like all those scenes. They do all this. Obviously, they did all the scenes in that one day.
Yeah, yeah.
The scene when he walks with the earmuffs. I mean, that took so long for them to do, dude. It kind of opened my eyes to how complicated things could be with film, because I remember seeing the movie and being like, I can't believe that was in there for 2 seconds. That took so long for them to film.
Yeah, yeah.
But I fucking went to the trailer. I had to take a shit. Like a bad shit. Like a bad one. Like a bad 6th grader shit.
Yeah.
But I was like, great, I'll just go to the bathroom. Like, you don't think about certain plumbing issues that anything could have when you're a kid.
Yeah, 6th grade poop, you're just pooping.
You're just pooping. It's like almost invisible.
Mm-hmm.
So I go into my cousin's trailer, and I tear it up. And I was a kid that used a lot of toilet paper. And so I just, do my thing. I leave, and then I'm, watching the set for a little bit longer. And then we go back to her trailer. It had leaked all out of her trailer. And that just like completely made all the trailers smell the septic from that trailer. So Jake Gyllenhaal is walking through, and he's like, what is that smell?
Oh, man. If you ever meet Jake or Richard, you have to share this story.
I mean, they must know, because it was like a big to-do. It was a whole thing. I remember being like so embarrassed, being like, hey, Grandpa, we got to get the fuck out of here. I just shit all over the set of Donnie Darko, and it's time to go. And yeah, that was pretty fucked up. But what I do remember is everyone being pretty damn cool. Aside from that, they were all very
yeah. Well, I got to imagine that set was like, I mean, that's his first film. Like, it must have been very, we're all in it together, sort of like summer camp vibes.
It did feel that way, because there was on the set, like in between takes, they were like Jake Gyllenhaal and all the dudes were like playing guitar and like singing songs that they had made up that were about the shut up thing. They were like shut up, like they were doing this song that they were, and it did seem like that for sure. It was really cool. But yeah, man, that kind of like lit something up in me where I was like, oh my god, this is cool. Like I got to go to the screenings and stuff too. It made me go like, oh my god, I think that's the thing. I think that's the fucking thing.
Awesome. That's awesome.
So when I heard you say Celador, I was like, I gotta fucking tell you about this shit. You really gotta watch it soon. It's good.
I need to rewatch it.
It holds the fuck up.
I never forget when I first saw it. Like I watched it in my buddy Zach's house growing up, and that cellar door scene, I was like, whoa, this is the name of the band. Also, that movie's so weird because it also plays in so many different genres. It's awesome.
Yeah, it does.
I definitely need to go back and rewatch that.
So are you someone who's working in music videos to make films eventually? Or do you want to keep doing all?
I mean, I want to keep doing all.
Yeah.
Like, I love how like Spike Jonze and Paul Thomas Anderson still will make music videos. Like Paul did all those amazing Haim videos, and Spike did that Kenzo commercial, which was like a great music video.
Was amazing.
Yeah, so like I would love to like, like kind of what I'm doing, but just keep going. I have a film in development, and I want to keep working on that while simultaneously doing the music videos and doing the commercials and pitching these shows.
Right.
The year of What Would Diplo Do, that was like, that year I did a video for White Reaper. I did 2 videos for Diplo. I was still doing music videos and commercials in the midst of it.
That's insane. What do you think the difference is between someone who has the ideas and someone like you that has the ideas and also has what it takes to pursue the ideas?
like a combination of optimism and anxiety and um I'm not good at much else. I don't know what, you know what I mean? And also just
Yeah.
the gratification. I like making the things, and I'm hopeful, even though I've heard so many no's in my career, so many no's. Um, yeah,
How do you deal
yeah,
with no's?
well, I think it's a combination of I've gotten used to it,
Mm.
whether it's pitching a show or bidding on a commercial or pitching a music video, whatever. I think I've, I've been in it enough that I balance my expectations. But here's the thing: I have to treat every project like I'm the most excited, because it's the only way I'm good at pitching or getting my vision across and getting people to execute my vision. Where it's the camera guy or an actor. So I have to constantly stay enthusiastic. And some of these projects, like the one that I made the digital pitch for, we've been developing and shopping the show in different facets, like attaching talent stuff, for 3 years. But when I get on the Zoom to the network, it's got to be like the first time I'm talking about this thing, and I'm really stoked
That's true.
to share it with you. But it's also just having multiple balls in the air. So I have multiple babies that I'm nourishing and hoping can grow up and become something, but sometimes they just, I don't want to say babies die. As I was giving this analogy, I'm like, wait, am I leading to babies dying?
Babies
But,
can die.
yeah, I guess they can. But I just having multiple balls in the air, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I would love to see a feature by you. Like, I wonder when, like, do you have any trajectory in mind of when something like that could happen with you?
I mean, man, the one that there's so much I can't talk about because lawyers and stuff, but like I sold a feature that, will it get made? I hope so, but last March. I think my first feature will be one of three things, and they're threes that I'm like babies I'm nourishing. There's like an indie comedy, there's a big fun action comedy,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's like an indie horror film. And I want to do them all in my lifetime.
So
Yeah, again, I look at Edgar Wright, I look at Spike Jonze,
yeah,
I look at I'm trying to Spike and Edgar. I feel like they just play in so many
I mean,
genres.
Fincher did music videos for a long time, but I guess he's not.
Oh, dude. No, but even Fincher, like, I mean, I think Mindhunter is one of the best shows of the past 5 years. I love that show.
Yeah, because you know what? I think now there's something that, like, filmmakers in general are growing out of as an industry, because it used to be you direct movies, and that's it. You direct, you know what I mean? Like, but now there's so many different types of things to direct, and so much of a creative, the ceiling to creativity within all mediums is so high now, especially. People are so afraid to put out something that everyone else is doing that they want the weird shit now.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of rad.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, like, as far as a TV show too, it's like such a good format to be able to just exercise a different muscle, So it's pretty cool to see. I mean, the TV show was great, and I feel like, I mean, man, I wish I knew like what this premise you got going for a feature is, because it seems like it'd be.
It'll be awesome. I mean, I'm hoping one of these things I can like publicly talk about in the very near future. I mean, that's the weird thing of our industry. I've done like television pilots that will never see the light of day that I was so excited about. You know what I mean? Like, I did a pilot for a major network with puppets. That's why I did those puppet music videos with Panic at the Disco.
Right,
because I did a television show pilot that got picked up, ordered 13 episodes, and then before we even shot, the guy who was the head of the corporation left, and they canceled all the orders. And I was so proud of that.
And
it kills me I can't show it to anyone, but the silver lining and the beauty of it is, when Brendan Urie hit me up going, I want to do a video where it's me as a puppet. Have you worked with puppets? I was like, dude, I am sending you a private link right now. Watch this pilot.
So one thing happened to me when I was, I think I was like 26, and I had made several shorts, a couple music videos, and I actually got a weird job directing some Kickstarter video for some clothing line, and turns out the husband of that person that I was directing the thing for, like, works at this like agency. I forget the name of the agency at this point, but they were based out of Paramount. They had like an office there, and so I actually I guess he liked what I did, so I went there, and he was like, "Great, we want to start sending you out for stuff. We like what you did. We feel like you could do some pretty cool stuff, but so put together some pitches for a scooter. They wanted me to like do a fucking commercial for a scooter. Um, I skate. I can't. I don't have passion for scooter shit. So, but I was like, fuck it, a commercial. Hell yeah, let's do this. So I put together 11 pitches. I didn't know how the fuck to do it. I put together 11 pitches, like 11 full-fledged pitches, and I emailed it to him. It was this whole PowerPoint presentation, and he's like, just come in because I feel like I need to talk to you. So I went in, and he was like, so normally people just send one pitch, but you sent 11. I'm going to pay you for the pitches, and I will also tell you that it might be possible that you're too young for us to send you out for this, because there's a lot of people that are way too experienced that are pitching better stuff than you for the same price. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know what to say to that. But so then I was actually almost going to get it. And then he said, do you have any hobbies? Like, what are your hobbies? I was like, I like making videos. What do you mean? That's what I like doing. I like watching movies and making videos. Like, and he was like, you got to get some hobbies, man. Like, you got to go love stuff. You got to go find things that you love and get into them so much so that if there's like a motorcycle commercial and you love motorcycles, I can give that to you. But I can't give you something like that if you don't know it as well as other people that do know it. So he gave me a certain piece of advice that was like, basically like, go live. Like, go find what you dig. Find a metal band. Find some porn stars. Find things that you dig, that you want to be a fan of. And that's why I feel like, I think after that was when I came up with the whole like starstruck thing, where I was like, I have to give myself two people, because I can't keep being this person that's just like, I like making videos and that's it. I got to like geek out over something, So.
Oh, yes. I'll never forget when Flesh Lightning was coming out, this writer-director named Eddie O'Keefe had this short coming out called The Ghost. It's awesome. Eddie O'Keefe is a great writer. He's had multiple scripts on the blacklist, movies, films produced, TV. He's got multiple TV shows produced. But I remember, I was just finished being an assistant where I didn't really have a life, which was good because I learned so much. I remember him being like, and he was talking about, he was just getting his start, but he was like, got on the blacklist, his short film kicked ass, all this.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm really trying to be better about time management and having time just to live, because as a writer and director, we just have to have experiences and observations and take life in and then process it out and tell what the stories you want to tell. And I'll never forget that conversation. Like, that really resonated with me. So I do think that is good advice, that like, you have to go out and live. Because the other thing is, like, I've done commercials for products that I could give zero shits about. You know what I mean? But the perspective of the things that I like and the things that I love that I can infuse into it, whether it is a fan of a certain genre or a sound or a song or whatever that I can bring to it, that's how I'm all of a sudden different when it's like pitching for a phone commercial. You can go with the guy who's done a million phone commercials. My point of view is just going to be slightly different and specific to me. So I definitely think that advice he gave of like, find things you love, find hobbies, is super important.
Yeah, it is. It also makes you like find how stories can develop differently. If basically like a day is a story, a relationship with someone is a story, you go to the store, that's a story. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can really find, act 1, 2, 3 within very tiny things of life. And if you don't experience those as much as you can, that makes it unique to your life, you really are losing out on a lot of perspective. So
whenever I'm tasked with writing, whether it's like pitching on a music video commercial or, some production company or places like we're looking for our this or something like that, I can never crack it by like sitting and truly brainstorming unless I'm with other writers. Then I can, because it's different, because it's like very like, woo.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's like I got to just live with that idea or song or product in my head and then just experience life, and then eventually it's just gonna click. It's kind of obsessive because it's like always there, but I'm not fully like sitting being like, I'm gonna write the best phone commercial today.
Yeah. I mean, those are kind of some of my favorite ideas come from doing something completely different than what I'm supposed to be doing at that point. You know what I mean? Like, as long as you have it in your head, like you're saying, you can kind of do whatever, and you'll kind of try to fit it into that box, Well, we're just at about a good amount of time, man. I'm super thankful for your time. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, good to talk to you, and
you too, man.
Let's hang out whenever it's possible again.
Yeah, and if I'm in I should have been in New York working this year. When we're allowed to travel again, we'll definitely hang.
Oh, dude, hit me up. Let's get a beer.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Have a good night.
You too. Later.
Thanks for watching that episode of Face to Facetime with Brandon Dermer. I fucking love directors that can articulate themselves great, because there's a lot of artists in general that can't necessarily say exactly, they can't articulate their process very well, and he can. It makes for a good conversation because you can actually get to like certain points you want to get to. Make sure and follow him on Instagram, Twitter too, and I'll link his stuff below. For the listeners, it's at Brandon Dermer. I'm pretty sure you can find him on everything from that. And check out his music videos. Nekrogobilkon is fucking great. It was on. They talked about it on Joe Rogan. They talked about it on Tiger Belly. And my Instagram for this podcast is at Face to Facetime. Check out the YouTube. Rate and review on Apple Podcasts. Helps out a lot. And that's it. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Have a good night, day, whatever you got.